Are you looking to take your personal finances to the next level? You're in the right place. Welcome to the Monday Money Tip Podcast, presented by I Was Broke, Now I'm Not, with your host, Joseph Sangle.
Well, welcome to the Monday Money Tip Podcast, presented by Fully Funded Life. My name is Joseph Sangle, and I'm fired up to help you win with your money and live a fully funded life. I'm joined, as always, by my co-host. What's your name?
Megan Hibbard.
It's still Megan Hibbard today, yes.
Still Megan Hibbard.
That is great. And how are you doing today?
I'm good.
The final Monday of January.
I know. It's gone by fast.
It does go by fast. You've traveled in this month?
I did. We went to Gatlinburg, Tennessee.
Yes, which is only 3 hours away from where we live here.
Unless you get stuck in traffic, which we did.
That happened to you on the way there or coming home?
On the way back.
Oh, no. That's when it's really bad.
Construction traffic.
Yeah. And so for all of I know that growing up in Indiana, Gatlinburg was about 6 hours away, but it was like another universe away, you know, the mountains and snow still. And Gatlinburg has always been just a wonderful place to go.
It is another universe there too.
Yeah, and it is awesome. So that's great. We're traveling and serving churches and companies, going and teaching all throughout the month. It's an honor to be able to serve people. Today is a fifth Monday, and we've changed up the format a little bit, kind of shortening the podcast a little bit, getting more focused. But whenever there's a fifth Monday, we're doing something different. Tell everybody what we're doing.
Yep. All right. So today we're going to do a Q&A. So I have pulled 7-ish questions. Joe doesn't know what they are.
Like for real, I have no idea what they are.
I don't know what they are.
Okay.
I pulled them and printed the sheet and it's in front of him, but he doesn't know the questions ahead of time. So I'm going to ask you the questions and you're going to do some rapid responses so we can get some help to some people about, I tried to pick some commonly asked questions.
Okay.
So some of them are a little bit more specific to investing or budgeting or I tried to do the gamut.
Well, whenever we're at live events, this is my favorite part, is when people get to ping us with questions. I love being stumped, really. I mean, I know a lot of people don't want to be stumped, but I love being stumped because it causes me to learn more too. Yeah. But let's go. You got question number one queued up?
All right. So question number one is, how do you start investing when you have little to start with anyway?
Well, how do you start investing when you have little to start with anyway? Start with a little. I love Proverbs 13:11. It says, dishonest money dwindles away, but whoever gathers money little by little makes it grow. So I love that they use the word little. Yeah. So start with a little. And I'm talking $5, $10. And so what do? I encourage you, go to an online trading platform like Schwab.com, open a regular IRA or a Roth IRA, and just start putting that money in there. And here's what I encourage a person to do. If at all possible, whatever that little amount is, make it automatic. And do that every time you're paid and start investing it. Because the little bit, I mean, $100 a month in 40 years is over $1 million. You know, in 30 years, it's $350,000. And so in 20 years, it's $100,000. And if you have very little right now, I guarantee you any one of those three numbers sounds incredible. And so start with a little, because over time, you know, you will be able to have more to invest. Your life will change. If you've got kiddos, eventually they'll leave, right? Hopefully. And they'll be on their own. And you'll have moments where your income goes up, but your expenses stay more fixed, like the housing cost and all that. And you're going to be able to invest more. The key here is to start learning, the learning process. And you won't truly learn till you put a little bit of your money there.
That's good. All right. Number two, we get this question a lot. Is a 12% interest realistic in our current environment?
There we go. I like the word current because current is always changing. It's 12%. Here's what we do know. The S&P 500 index, the Standard & Poor's 500 index, since January 1, 1941, if you count all dividends that have been paid out, cash paid out of profits being distributed to the shareholders, if they are reinvested, the compound annual growth rate, known as CAGR, C-A-G-R, compound annual growth rate, which is, if it would be linear, perfectly linear, not up and down, but if you would draw a straight line, is 11.41%. The Investment Company of America Mutual Fund from American Funds, it has been around since January 1, 1934, and its compound annual growth rate has been 12.1%. So they always say past performance is not indicative of future performance, may lose money. That is true. But I always like to look at trends because that's what we have to rest on. And so today, I don't know what day you're listening to this. It may or may not be likely that you could get 12% this year. But if you choose 5-year increments and 10-year increments, which we always encourage for investing, you can look at that and say, if you're investing aggressively, then you will most likely achieve somewhere between 11 and 13%. By the way, if you look at real estate, many times in real estate, you can achieve 12%. Many times in small business, you can achieve 12%. So don't just think about mutual funds. Don't just think about retirement accounts. Think about other type of investments as well.
That's good. Okay, so our third question is, once out of debt, how do you plan and save to avoid future debt?
Oh, this is really good. Now, if you achieve debt freedom and you did that over a period of time, you can already answer this question. How do you plan and save to avoid future debt? Because the keys are, number one, make sure that you follow the ladder and achieve rung 2 and then rung 5. As soon as you get rid of your non-house, non-business debt, which is rung 4, immediately take that payment money and build your emergency fund, rung 5, to a minimum of 3 months worth of expenses. That is how you avoid future debt. But also, one of the foundational elements is saving for those known upcoming non-monthly expenses, those pesky things like Christmas, vacation, property taxes, insurance, those things that show up once a year, car repairs or car maintenance, like new tires, brakes, something like that. You'll be saving for those every paycheck. That's what we encourage you to do with a budget. No matter where you're at, you should be saving for those because those expenses are known, they are upcoming, but they're not monthly. If you have those two things in place, you've built your emergency fund to rung 5, a minimum of 3 months worth of expenses, and you are saving for known upcoming expenses, which also can include replacing your car. I know you and Jordan have done that. Then you have done the two big things that can help you avoid all future debt.
That's good. All right. Question number 4. How do you handle large student loan debt?
Oh, well, this is a big issue facing a lot of people. And will the government pay off your student loan debt? Well, that's being litigated in courts. And let me tell you, it's definitely been a political football. And it definitely got votes for the Democrats. But I'm just here to tell you, whether you're Democrat, Republican, or red versus blue, or you're purple, you're a blend of those, or maybe you're none of them. Here's what I know. That's going to be litigated for years to come before any of that happens. So here's what I would encourage you to do. If you have very large student loan debt and you got a professional degree with it, by that I mean an attorney, you became an attorney, or a medical degree. If it's a PhD level, that type of degree, I would encourage you to put it as rung number 7 debt, as business debt, because you needed that to do the business that you're in. If it is undergrad debt, master's degree debt, then I would put it in rung 4, the non-house, non-business debt. And so that's a big switch, because if it is for an advanced degree and it's business debt, then you would just pay minimum payments until you get all the way up to rung 7. We don't want you to delay building your savings. We don't want you to delay starting that investing journey at a heavy level, because we know that that debt is ginormous. I have a twin brother who's a medical doctor. His medical school cost an enormous amount of money, and that's where he's placed it, on rung number 7, because of that very thing. And so he started investing way earlier, way before he attacked that debt. And so I would encourage that for anybody. But, the way to pay off debt is to pay extra. And there's a couple ways people figure that out. If you are in a public service role, like a teacher in an underprivileged area, you're doing social work in an area that needs that type of work, many government entities have a deal, or the school county entity has a deal that if you serve us, that for every year that you serve us, we will wipe out this percent or this much dollar-wise of your student loans. So finding innovative ways to do that, well, that can meet needs in a community, and number 2, help you accelerate your debt payoff.
This is kind of a part B to that question. But one way we encourage people to do it is the debt snowball. In a nutshell, how would you describe the debt snowball to somebody?
Well, in a debt snowball, you line up your debts from the smallest amount you owe to the largest. So the student loans, what I would encourage you to do is, a lot of people have theirs bundled, even though they're individual loans and they're making one payment. I would put those individual ones in so that you can be wiping out individual student loans.
Feel like you're making more progress.
That's right.
quickly.
Well, you will be making progress because you'll be reducing the obligation that you owe each month as soon as you eliminate a debt. So the debt snowball, awesome. You can check it out on YouTube. Monday Money Tip, debt snowball.
Yep.
Number one watched video for all of our stuff.
Yeah, it's good. All right, the next question. How do you recommend creating a budget when you have a non-regular budget / income is based on commission?
There we go. We call this seasonal, cyclical, or irregular income. Well, number one, we encourage you to pick up our book, I Was Broke, Now I'm Not, and read chapter 8, which is written for you. I have seasonal, cyclical, and irregular income. You work part-time as able. Your income is kind of as well. And if you're a commission person, a hairstylist, a real estate salesperson, then you have commission income. You have unpredictable income. And a lot of those people say, I can't budget, but you need a budget more than anybody. And so I'll give you a couple tips. You need a known slumps fund that's equal to about 3 months worth of your monthly need for the household level income, right as you go into that known slumps period. And all of these types of jobs that have, weird, wild, and wonky income, they have known slumps period. And if you've been around for longer than a year, you kind of know when the slumps start, and we pray they're shallow and short, and you kind of know when the blessing time comes. And the whole key is you use that known slumps fund to fill in the pothole, so to speak. And then when you have the surplus, you're using that to replenish your known slumps fund, right? Because as seasons go, you're going to be back in that known slumps period before you know it, and you're going to be needing that money again. So we do encourage you to check it out. I Was Broke, Now I'm Not. We also have courses on this in Fully Funded Life to help people, and that's why we offer coaching. There's more nuance to prospering with this type of income. And so that's why we offer coaching as well.
Yeah, I have a lot of friends that are real estate agents, and they know January is a slow month.
Oh, man, is it slow?
Month, so you have to plan for it. So, okay, the next question. How many months will it take to get my budget correct?
That's a great question.
That's a great question.
It depends on if you have a budget fiend in your family. Like if you're married, do you have a really good person with spreadsheets and a really good planner? I will just tell you this. If you have married a school teacher, you can thank God for that because they're very organized. They're planners. My bride was a school teacher until she retired at the ripe old age of 26. Now she's just a high school track coach. But here's what I would just say is it takes, in general, 3 monthly budgets to really feel like you've got a grasp on it. And I would tell you, for me, after about 3 months, I stopped having a lot of surprises. We had figured out kind of how much we're going to spend on groceries, what is the right amount for dining out, and all those variable things. But it was month 13 where I really felt like I had it. Because why? I could look back 1 year earlier to month 1 and say, what were those expenses in that month? Who had birthdays in that month? So I stopped forgetting things that happen once a year. And, that's that time we go back for back to school clothes. And that's that time we travel on summer vacation. And so I could look 1 year earlier. And so month 13, I felt like there was even another great level of rhythm with our budgeting.
And I feel like so a lot of times when you start budgeting, we recommend having an oops line item in your budget.
Yeah, we forgot. Yep.
So I feel like a lot of times in month 13, that kind of shifts because you're aware of the 12 months earlier, you thought, I forgot this. So then you add it in. And so ideally that fund would get a little bit smaller, or it would have, shifting, that kind of stuff where you're able to remember some things that happen each year.
Now, you just said you had another word for the we forgot. How did you say that?
Oops.
Oops. There we go.
Oops.
Yeah, there we go. Oops. So that we could call it the oops we forgot. Yeah. I like that. We should merge that together. We've renamed that category now in the budget. Awesome. All
right. Our next question. What if we have no retirement because we've had a job with no 401k?
Well, I need to take a deep breath on this. So in this question, I don't know this person. I have no idea who asked this question. If you ask this question, I'm reading between the lines. All I can go with is what you've just said.
Right.
And I see you have it printed here. So what if we have no retirement because we have had a job with no 401k? It reeks to me. This is isolated. I'm just reading a line of victimhood. Yeah. This person is playing a victim. Well, I have no retirement Because our company doesn't offer a 401k. Well, you can go to Schwab today. You can go to Fidelity today. You can go to Ally Invest. You can go to E-Trade. You can go to TD Ameritrade. And you can go to your local bank. You can go to Edward Jones. You can go to Ameriprise. You can go to any one of them and say, I'd like to set up a Roth IRA today. Yeah. And you know when they would set it up? Today. So when you say, what if we have no retirement because we've had a job with no 401k? It sounds to me like you're blaming your employer. When the fact is, you have it well within your ability to have a retirement account right now, and that has been in existence for the last several decades. So what I would tell you is, if you have no retirement, and if you're not meaning that way, hey, I can only go with words on a page, I would just tell you this. Today is the first day of the rest of your life. And so I would encourage you, go to one of those providers. We don't get compensated from any of them. We just want to see you prosper. And if I woke up tomorrow in your shoes, I would go open a Roth IRA. When?
Today.
Or today. Depends on how fast you're wanting to say it. And I would put some money in it today, and I would commit to an automatic monthly contribution. And so the sooner you take personal responsibility for your future, your financial future. Yes, we hope that Social Security is going to pay some money, and it will. If you have a defined pension, it's going to pay you some money, and that's awesome. But when you take personal responsibility for your retirement and you personally set up the automated stuff, there is learning to be had there that is going to make you have financial confidence as an investor, and it's going to have you financial confidence for your retirement years so you can have fun during those go and slow go years. And so that's what I encourage you to do. Set it up today, a Roth IRA.
Yeah. And on the latter, we say, a lot of companies do offer that, but a lot of them don't. And so we say, placing $100 a month into the account if your employer doesn't. That would be a good place to start.
Right. So that's rung number 3. Yeah. Invest enough to capture the full company match or $100 a month, whichever is greater, into your retirement account. If you don't have a retirement account, set it up and get rolling on your own. That's awesome.
All right. So we've talked about a bunch of questions that involve budgeting, investing, debt. It's budgeting. Kind of all over the map here. So encompassing all of that into the single angle, what would you say is a takeaway from this?
The single angle is fast. Ask questions. Yeah. Just ask questions. Ask questions at an organization or a person you can trust. And that's what we aspire to be at Fully Funded Life, is to be one of those people that you can trust with no sales pitch to follow. And so ask questions. You may feel dumb in the moment, but the result of asking the question is you will have knowledge that will give you confidence. It'll allow you to prosper and move forward. What is your take, Megan?
So my take is, you kind of mentioned it, hit on it a little bit, but there's no question that is too great or too small. You don't need to feel silly for asking a question, because it helps you learn and it helps you advance and it helps you move forward with your finances. So if you have a question and you're like, I don't want to ask that because I would feel silly asking it. Well, ask it, because that's how you learn and that's how you grow. And that's why we have in Fully Funded Life, that's why we have one-on-one coaching, because every person's finances are different. Every person has, a different rung they're working on. Every person has different background experiences. Every person has different ways they were raised or things they're striving for, or different hopes and dreams and ways of getting there. So asking questions helps you to accomplish those things.
You know what? It results in education. Education results in confidence, and that results in a fully funded life. Yeah. Hey, thanks so much for joining us today. We can't wait to bring you next week's Monday Money Tip. Until then, hey, was there one thing that was helpful for you today? What is the most helpful question that we answered today? Comment on it if you're watching on YouTube. We'd love to hear from you. Have a great week, everybody. Get fired up.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Monday Money Tip Podcast, presented by I Was Broke, Now I'm Not. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave a review and subscribe. And for more great content and to stay up to date, visit iwbnin.com. We'll catch you next time.